No way he just said this. Rafael Devers just dropped a bombshell calling out the Red Sox front office after they involved him in the first baseman conversation following Triston Casas' season-ending injury. I'm here to break down how Red Sox Nation is turning on Rafael Devers in this situation because he seems to be, again, feet dug in the sand, not going to move his position. He moved once, he's not going to do it again. And it seems like everyone's jumping on Devers' back. But I'm here to tell you, it might be Craig Breslow who is at fault here. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Red Sox Digest. But first, please do remember to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on everything Boston Red Sox. We do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down how there might be trouble brewing in Boston. Now, this is not the first time there's been a lot of speculation and drama surrounding Rafael Devers in the position in which he is going to be playing for this Boston Red Sox team this season. As we know, going through this past offseason, Rafael Devers was the third baseman until Alex Bregman was then acquired this offseason, and then Devers was then forced to move to DH. And we heard all of the quotes initially where he was hell-bent on not moving from third base. It was, quote, his position. Now, that obviously didn't stand as Alex Cora and the rest of this management and organization was able to convince him to then move to DH. Now, Bregman has been the third baseman. Devers has been playing third base, DH. And we know Triston Casas, up until his injury, was the starting first baseman for this Boston Red Sox team. But now with his departure and Bregman being the third baseman and the offensive production being out of this world while being at least a good defender at worst in the field, it seems like there's going to be a conversation surrounding Rafael Devers possibly moving to first base in order to fill that void. But in previous videos on this channel, we broke down how Alex Cora himself said he doesn't believe that they're ever going to have that conversation with Rafael Devers for multiple reasons. They, one, just got him to move from third base to DH. That's a lot to ask of a young man, especially when he's as young as Rafael Devers, and he enjoys playing the defensive position of third base so much. And despite that, it seems like now there has been conversations behind closed doors involving Craig Breslow and Rafael Devers and possibly Alex Cora that have now turned the tables entirely, and it looks like there is now massive drama and speculation and just total problems coming out of Boston, again, revolving around Rafael Devers. Now, we're going to break down this article from Alex Spear from the Boston Globe, who went on to write, Rafael Devers firmly rejects the Red Sox proposal that he switches positions again, this time to first base. Now, there's a few major quotes. Again, we mentioned it in the beginning of this video. Rafael Devers did not really hold back in these quotes. He went out and he flat out answered the question as blunt and as honest as he possibly could, which you have to respect and you have to really enjoy in some facet. He's not going to beat around the question. He's not going to tell everyone what they want to hear. He's going to be authentic. He's going to be himself, and that's exactly what we have seen from Rafael Devers, especially over the last 6 months during the offseason as well as through spring training and up to this point of the regular season. Now, we're not going to read it word for word, at least the top part, because they broke down really what we've already discussed in Alex Spear, I should say. But the quote at the bottom, it goes on to quote Rafael Devers as he says, "I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play every position out there," Devers said, in remarks relayed by a team translator. Quote, "In spring training, they talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove, but I wasn't going to play any other position but DH. So right now, I just feel like it's not an appropriate decision by them to ask me to play another position." And again, breaking down, moving from third to DH, then to first base. And Rafael Devers labels it as a non-appropriate decision from the Boston Red Sox organization to approach him, to have him move once again. And I know the idea of doing anything your team really ask upon you to allow this team entirely and then you obviously as a piece of it to then be successful. And I understand that, but this is a different situation. Devers not wanting to move not only from third to DH and then from DH to first base all in a span of just a few months. I understand where Rafael Devers is coming from. You know he didn't want to move from third to DH to begin with, and now they're throwing in another curveball where he would be asked to move to first base, a position he has really never played up to this point in his career. Now, this is what we're going to get into the idea of where the Craig Breslow slander is coming from, in my opinion, in the sense that he could be the bad guy at fault that's really not taking any of the blame in this situation. Because we broke down how Alex Cora in the past videos didn't really enjoy the idea of possibly moving Devers to first base. He doesn't think the position, in the sense of being able to move that frequently, is something he's going to be able to pick up on at that high of a level that quickly, especially already in the middle of the season. We're not in spring training anymore. These are regular season games, and yes, it is still very early, but we're through 30 games of the regular season. The Boston Red Sox are going to have to really find something that works and get good at that. Now losing Triston Casas, asking Rafael Devers to go learn a new position defensively, as well as just accept the fact that you're now playing defense once again, and it's not at the position you really ever have played as well as want to play. This is a very sticky situation, and this is why I think Craig Breslow is at a bit more of a fault than where anyone's really giving him credit for. Again, Alex Spear's article, it goes on to say Devers expressed surprise that Breslow, a veteran of 12 big league seasons, who is now in his second year as a head of basketball operations for the Boston Red Sox, proposed the idea. And this is a quote again from Rafael Devers. It was the GM that I spoke with. I'm not certain what issue he has with me. He played ball, and I would like to think that he knows that changing positions like that isn't easy, said Devers. Quote again, they put me in this situation, and they told me that they didn't want to allow me to play any other position. Again, alluding back to the idea that they already asked him to move from third base to DH, and that was going to be it. You're not going to move back into the field specifically at third base, because Alex Bregman is going to be that guy defensively for this Red Sox team going forward, not only through this season, but for the following seasons to come, where you would both, obviously, Devers and Bregman, be a part of this Red Sox organization. And the final thing, where he concluded this quote with the following quote, and now I think they should do their jobs essentially and hit the market and look for another player for first base. I'm not sure why they want me to be in between the way they have been. It's end the quote from Rafael Devers. And I know the first part of that seems a bit heavy, a bit drastic, but he's blunt, and it comes off as find a different guy, as in you're looking to replace me now, I'm done with this. That's not the way he said it. That is not what he said. He was telling them to hit the open market and look for a possible first baseman replacement for Triston Casas, rather than asking him to once again move a position for a second time in the span of less than 6 months to then a new position in which he has not learned yet. He has never played before, at least for not a good enough amount of reps where it would be sustainable going into it, and again into a regular season game where he's going to be tested early and often. As again, it's not like all the positions are very important, and I understand that, and I'm not going to argue against that. But first base, catcher, first base, and starting pitcher seem like those three positions, as well as obviously third. If you're in first base is so vital. I know there's a lot of vital positions, and you can argue all 9 are extremely vital to everything going on. But first base is just significant. I know their defensive WAR it's hard to grade, and it's not very accurate grade. It's ridiculous. It is a very, very important position, and to ask someone who has never played it, doesn't want to play that position, if he is given an option, we know Rafael Devers' answer. He wants to play third base and only third base, and he's been willing, and he went on and accepted the fact that he's going to move to DH to allow this team to be better than it was, and that is what has happened up to this point. Now, it's unfortunate Triston Casas went down with injury, but once again, just like the conversations before in this offseason, the Boston Red Sox might have to be in the trade conversation and in the trade market to go out there and add another supplemental bat to really add to the depth at first base, so Romy Gonzalez isn't the lone guy out there looking to gather all of the reps. Now, the last thing we're going to close out on to really circle back how I really genuinely think this could rely more on Craig Breslow's back rather than Rafael Devers is because, again, to allude back to the points we've already made in this video about Alex Cora and his quotes on not wanting to move Devers to another position and move him once again. This is from May 6th, so that was 3 days ago. And this is a quote from Chris Calito, which was then retweeted or reposted, I should say, from Tom Carroll. I'm sorry, the font is small on my end. And it's, again, this is a interview or a post-game press conference with Alex Cora where they discussed this exact conversation days ago. And the quotes from Alex Cora, or I'll start with Chris Calito's question. Again, I have to lean into my screen because the font is extremely small. But he goes on to say, we talked about the Raffy first base thing the other day. Have you had any other conversations with him about it? Alex Cora's response in one word, quote, no. Chris Calito then responds, do you plan to? And Alex Cora then responds once again with a one-word answer, definitively, again, no. And the reason that now that the quotes from Devers are saying that the conversation came between him and Craig Breslow just leaves me feeling a very, very just unsettled way. I feel like this was a one-on-one conversation between those two, despite the conversations that Alex Cora has had with the media on WEEI, as well as with Chris Calito, as well as a bunch of other great journalists, whether it's post-game, whether it's pre-game, whether it's on the headset in the middle of the game, on the Fox broadcast, whatever it is. I just feel like this is not appropriate. Again, not in the same way that, in the same exact way that Rafael Devers thinks it's not appropriate. But in a different way. I think that the conversation not involving Alex Cora, it seems like, again, based off the quotes presented by Rafael Devers, given to us by Rafael Devers and then presented by Alex Spear in this article, just leaves me unsettled. I think Breslow and Devers had a conversation one-on-one and really just let this go entirely and just pushed the snowball down the hill and allowed it to go with no chance to stop it. Now, I'm going to conclude this video with the fact of a quote from Rafael Devers about how he feels about this team, so no one jumps in the comments and says, Devers is gone, Devers is gone, Devers is gone. So Alex Spear goes on, how would Devers describe his relationship with the team? And Devers goes on to say, and I quote, here in the clubhouse, thankfully, the relationship that I have with my teammates is great, Devers said. Quote, I don't understand some of the decisions that Breslow makes. Next thing you know, someone in the outfield gets hurt and they want me to play in the outfield. I think I know the kind of player that I am, and that's just where I stand. And that's the end of the quote from Rafael Devers, maybe the biggest one to conclude this video. And again, it was to conclude Alex Spear's article. He did a great job. It will be tagged down in the description if you want to read the entirety of it because there's a lot there. I will only use the biggest quotes from Rafael Devers. So again, go check that out, as well as obviously Chris Calito. He did a great job covering this entire conversation, just craziness that has gone on involving Rafael Devers up to this point. It's upsetting that it's been handled up to this point. It's upsetting that Rafael Devers is once again the target in Boston. I don't think he should in any way or in any capacity. Yes, it's upsetting. He's not willing to do absolutely everything that this team asks of him. The immediate second they ask of him, or they ask him of it, but he ended up moving to DH. He then gave us great quotes about, I'll do whatever this team asks me to win, after digging his heels in about third. So he gets to DH, and then he's getting comfortable at DH. He started horribly. The numbers are slowly getting better as he's almost hitting 300 since April 1st. He's getting a lot better. He's finding a groove. This Red Sox offense is getting better. Why did Breslow do that? Let me know down below who you guys think it is fault. Is it Rafael Devers? Is it Craig Breslow? Is it even Alex Cora? I think it's Craig Breslow in my opinion, but again, let me know down below what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next episode of Red Sox Digest.